Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Games get 10 times better when Michelob Ultra is on the line, so race to the bottom of a slope. Winner gets an Ultra. Or enter at michelobultra.com/Ultra Instructor for a chance to win tickets to the hottest sporting events of 2026. Michelob Ultra, Ultra Instructor, no purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 plus. Begins on January 30th, 2026. Ends on February 22nd, 2026. See official rules at michelobultra.com/rules for free entry deadlines, prizes, and details.
Hello there, Stanley Karr here. You know, I love collecting music and sports memorabilia. Want to know where you can find some? I'll tell you. Go to oldglory.com. This website features one-of-a-kind apparel from your favorite sports teams and musical artists. And I can help you get 15% off of all items. Use the code WWH135. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Karr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show. And with me right now, I've got a very special guest. She is a fitness model, cover girl, appeared on WCW programming back in the early 2000s, and is the daughter of legendary wrestler Hal Canner. I am pleased to welcome the one and only Kim Canner. Welcome to Wrestling with Heart.
Thank you. Finally, right after all this time.
Yes, it's been a long time coming. So glad we could finally make this work. Talk to me about your childhood. Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in New York, and people that meet me always think I'm from New York, so I'm sure it was because my parents had very heavy New York accents, and so did I. My dad left New York, and we went to Florida. Florida was like, too hot, too humid, and then I grew up in Malibu, California, right across from the beach. So it was beautiful. So my dad, you brought up my father being a professional wrestler, and so I remember growing up and seeing just these big superheroes, I used to call them. And my mom would make so much food, and all these like wrestlers would come over. And mind you, my dad was 18 years older than my mom. So when he wrestled, it was like in the late 50s under Vince McMahon Sr. So I actually got to meet the woman that started his fan club backstage in New York City, which was really pretty cool at Madison Square Garden. She was so sweet. But when I said, wait a second, she goes, well, I also made him this jacket. And she showed me a picture. I said, I have that. So I have my dad's zebra jacket that he used to walk out in. Yeah, so it was really cool. So my time there was special. And some people would say, do you have any regrets? Like leaving? I'm like, well, I made a choice to leave, and we'll get into that. Besides being sort of them saying goodbye to me. I would say the only regret that I had was not being present enough. Like it was a magic world for me as a child. And then when I actually saw it in person, I was like, oh, this shit's real. Like I'm watching guys have femur fractures and broken ankles, which no one gets to see that. I mean, I would sit there during lunch and watch them all practicing. And I mean, they're true athletes. I mean, there's no joke. I mean, people can say things like, oh, it's fake and this and that. Well, you know what? To me, it's a big superhero cartoon that you follow. That's how I see it. And, when I was asked to be a part of it, they found me in a fitness magazine, Muscle Media magazine. And I used to write fitness blogs. And I also helped Dwayne Johnson doing the Scorpion King too, like for his nutrition. So he used to come over to my house all the time. I used to bake him like healthy cookies and go on set and stuff like that. So it was fun. He was super, super nice guy, very, very cool down to earth. I haven't seen him in a long time. Now he's this like, big superhero actor. But But yeah, it was fun, while I did it. And a lot of people said that I had this like loud and bright personality, which that's what I thought I brought in. Now, I was told I will never have to wrestle. And I'm like, that's fine because I'm not planning on doing that. I mean, my dad had brainstem injuries from it, broken back twice. His nose used to be like sideways. He had to have it fixed a couple times. I mean, like, why would I do that? I mean, even Hulk Hogan sat me down and said, do not do this. And I'm like, he goes, you're great. Your personality shines. Stick to that. Goldberg told me the same thing. And I'm like, why are they telling me this? Like, I have no intention. But apparently they knew something I didn't know. So behind the scenes, they were tracking, I guess, somehow my popularity, which I had no clue. I would just go do my thing and then go home, to what I loved to do, which was interior design and flipping homes and whatnot. So that's where that was my passion. And that's where I made my real money. Right. So this was just like a fun thing. And it was something that I looked at in the magazines, when I was a kid with, pictures of my dad and he was also in the fitness magazines. I would never have thought that I would be on the cover of many. I mean, who would have known, right? But I sort of followed in his footsteps a tiny bit.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought? I mean, once you're like, it's like in your blood in a sense,
Yeah.
because like once you're in, you're in. It's a brother and
Yeah.
sisterhood, and it's amazing that you got your dad's jacket still. I
I
mean,
know.
and and
I
and
know.
and talk about a time too where it was the 50s and 60s era, and a lot of people still remember that time period. As a kid, do you ever recall just watching wrestling just casually, not even thinking about going into the business, but just being a fan, like watching?
But yeah, I'd say like I'd watch over my dad's, shoulder. I mean, my dad was a big presence in my life, and we were very, very close. And he was super fit. I mean, he had a 52-inch chest and a 29-inch waist. And mind you, I had zero boyfriends growing up. Zero, like thanks to him, because he would scare everyone. He would say, "Oh yeah, come on over," and grab like those railroad nails and like bend it with his hands in front of them and rip telephone books. I'm sure you don't even know what that is or have ever seen one. He would just, tear them just apart like it was nothing. And he would work my brothers out. And I'd always watch him and I was always curious. So he used to take me to Gold's Gym with him, but he'd say, you have to stay outside. So I'm like, why? So I'd see these other people that look like superheroes to me as a 9-year-old girl. And it would be Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno all coming out. And he'd say, they have dirty mouths. They talk dirty and I don't want you hearing that. Oh, I'd hear it all. And I'd be laughing, wanting to see what was going on in there. But yeah, I mean, I used to see it, but they also used to come over my house. So to me, it was like nothing. My dad's tag team partner, I can't remember his name, just like, oh, now I just left me, but it may come back. But he came over a couple of times. I'd only met him when I was probably like 7. And then I ran into him at Gold's Gym in Venice when I was working out and I recognized him. So I approached him and I said, oh, my dad was Hal Canner. And he's like, oh, he said, yeah, one of your sisters got me divorced. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I used to come over your house with my girlfriend while my wife was at home. I was like, oh no. And I realized, I think that was me. Because I remember saying, I remember answering the door and saying, that's not the lady you brought last week. And then my dad like goes, go upstairs. So I'm sure it was me, but I just had the straight face. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. But I don't know. It was just a funny kind of
Yeah.
thing that happened, which most women would go, that's not funny, but it is what it is. And then none of my business. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you get to see a little bit of show business, see so much stuff, the fame and all the
Yeah.
stuff that kind of comes with that, and then
Yeah.
you start doing the fitness thing. What made you want to get into that?
Well, I used to watch my dad train my brothers to be honest. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I would watch them and kind of like learn. And then little by little, as I got older, I just started working out at the gym and was working with a trainer and whatnot and just learning more and more and more. And then I moved into Marina Del Rey from Malibu and I started training at Gold's Gym. And all the bodybuilders there and all the wrestlers would come in all the time. And I started, just training there every day. So there was a big photo shoot going on, which was kind of normal. And one of the photographers came over to me and gave me his card. I'm like, I'm not a model or anything. He goes, no, I really would like to, shoot you. And I'm like, no, thanks. I'm good. A month later, there he is again. But this time it was the owner of Muscle Media Magazine. And he introduced himself to me. And that's kind of like how it happened. So he said, you're fit and you're lean and you have nice, lean muscle mass. And that's where women want to be. They don't want to look like a miniature Hulk, so people always think, I don't want to look like a man. Well, you can't look like a man unless you're doing steroids. Sorry. Muscle. It took me 20 years to keep 20 pounds of muscle on. And I'm still a size 2. People think I'm like super tall. I'm only 5'4", but people always think I'm tall because I got longer legs. I don't know. But I still work out all the time. I walk a lot. I don't do the running thing anymore. I'm like, why am I running so much? This is like insane. Horseback ride, hiking, all that kind of outdoorsy stuff. So I train it a few times a week. Most of the time, just twice a week, just my larger body parts. And I still eat really healthy.
So that fitness journey kind of led, of course, to the call to join WCW, as you talked about a little bit earlier. When you joined WCW, getting the chance to meet all these people, were you nervous, shy, scared, afraid? Walk me through.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I was in awe because I was like, oh, wow. So this is kind of like, my dad talked about all the traveling and stuff. And boy, is it exhausting. I was nervous. Are you kidding me? I didn't know what to expect. And then I realized there was a whole group of girls that were there. And I'm like, well, what's this? And then little by little, they dwindled down to just a few of us. At the time, the Nitro girls were there. And, out of respect for them, I don't think that they knew that they were bringing us all in. I think their ratings were starting to drop. So I think they wanted a lift. So they thought that we would help by bringing in other like girls as managers or ring girls or what have you, announcers or whatever. And maybe, I guess it worked for a little bit. But it was hard on them because then think about it. They try to get them to wrestle. And then that kind of dwindled out. And then Tori ended up going with the WWF or WWE, I should say. It was F then. And everything just kind of like broke up. So they asked me, well, Terry Taylor, I'm sure you know Terry Taylor's. Terry asked me if I'd be interested in going to the power plant. I'm like, what for? And he's like, well, just kind of learn I'm like, no, that wasn't my deal. So I'm just here to have fun and be a personality and maybe, break a 2x4 over someone's back every now and then, which I did, by the way, to Scotty's brother, Rick. It was so much fun doing that, except I think I hit him a little too hard because I remember him saying, okay, that's enough, Ken, or like that kind of hurt, but it was fun anyway. Then he asked me for a second time. And I said, no, I already told you I'm not going to do that. And here I'm being coached by Goldberg and Hulk Hogan and saying, don't. They're going to try to push you to do everything that benefits them and not you. And I'm like, okay. So, and I had no intention and I didn't want to anyway. So they ended up saying, well, I got a call saying before you go to the next venue, we're going to fly you into Atlanta. And next thing you know, it's at the power plant, this meeting. And I'm like, still, I'm not going. So the last time I did tell Terry, honestly, like, if you ask me one more time, I'm out. So as they kept saying, oh, the ratings are going up even more and more and more, I got a call from Terry and he goes, I know this is like my third call. And I'm like, well, my answer's the same. And he was like, please, like he was such a nice guy. Like he really cared about the us girls. And he goes, you're doing such a great job. And that's why, they're asking you and this. And I'm like, I'm not interested. And then Scotty called.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
I know that's why I know, but maybe you could just like learn how to take a few bumps in this. I will help you. I will protect you. He was such a sweetheart. He was the nicest guy, even though he was very scary. And I said, I'm sorry. That's not what I signed up for. I mean, look what I witnessed. My dad broken back. He's always in pain growing up. And, brain stem injuries. He lost a lot of sight in one of his eyes. I'm like, why would I do that? I mean, Tori Wilson has back problems today. Like, what's the point? I think I was doing a good job for what they hired me originally for, and that was good enough for me.
I think the cool thing about the wrestling business is that you don't have to be a wrestler per se. You can have other roles. There's room for announcers,
Right.
for managers, for valets,
Yeah.
referees. Did you decide to, in addition to working with Scott, did you pitch any ideas to creative about wanting to work with other people?
Well, originally I was working. No, I did not, first of all, but I was working with Jeff Jarrett. I don't know if you guys, if you remember that. Um, and then somehow, I don't know how it happened. Then all of a sudden, they tried to make Medeja and I look like we were like sisters and always wearing the similar outfits and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, we were with Scott Steiner. I don't think Jeff was too happy about that, but they didn't, talk about that. And I was also Kim Canner, and Kimberly Page didn't like that too much. So they said, we have to change your name. I'm like, why? And they're like, Kimberly doesn't like it. And I'm like, that's not my problem. They're like, well, it's our problem, so we have to change it. So next thing you know, they want to give me the Shakira. I was like, what? This is insane. But sometimes, people would make a mistake and kind of like still call me Kim, which I appreciated. But, it's amazing. The fans, after all these years, I'm still getting people like to try to get me to do signings or, podcasts like you were very persistent, and I appreciate that. And I just felt so bad that it took so long.
No. It's sometimes good things come to those who wait. So here we
Yeah.
are today. Now, the cool thing about the wrestling business is that you have a group of friends that are around you. You're traveling with them 365, 24/7. It is, like I said earlier, brother sisterhood. Talk to me about some of the people that you got to have the chance to have lunch with or spend time with while on the road, or even people that you've even kept in touch with even after your time in the business.
Well, that's interesting. To be honest, after I left, I didn't hear from any of the girls. And other than Scotty, calling me, and then I don't believe that Scotty has, like, I do follow what seems to be Scotty's Instagram, but I don't believe it is. I think it's just like fan based or something, but a lot of wrestlers follow it. Maybe he looks at it. I don't know. But no, I didn't keep in touch with him. They didn't keep in touch with me. It just kind of just ended, sort of like they just were so busy. And like I said, when you're on the road, it's like I'm on the West Coast. So I'd have to fly from LAX to New York, and then drive to where we were staying. And then the next morning early, we may have to drive 3-4 hours just to get to, this stadium. And then we're there like 9 hours. And then of course the show. And then, which I learned, if you drive with a wrestler, if you're driving there, getting a ride with them, that's who you ride back with. And generally, whoever you're going out with on stage, they want you to drive with. Now that didn't happen with, Medeja, Scotty and I, but it was, no, sometimes it was just Medeja and I together. April Hunter, when she was there, sometimes we'd all, go in the car together. But I did learn that that's what you're supposed to be doing, but I didn't really care about that. And I don't think they did either. Not that that matters, but, once I left, I just heard that they were really upset that, where did she go? I mean, I think my last show was with, I don't remember where it was, but I remember Medeja, was the first time Medeja went out with Scotty by herself, and I was left backstage to watch Kevin Nash's son. And I was like, what is this? Like, it was kind of strange. So I don't know if that's when they thought, when then I got the phone call, a couple days later when I got home. So I think that they were going to try to make me, that was my departure into possibly going to the power plant and then coming back as, a wrestler. So they thought, but I remember that was my last day. And it just, the energy felt different. Something was off. Scotty didn't say anything to me about it. Maybe he was wondering himself. Maybe he thought I would do it, but that's not, what happened.
Yeah. It's a very hard business, but you learn from your mistakes, you move forward. And I've seen over the last few years, since we followed each other, that you've been very involved with different charity organizations. You've been very instrumental with giving back. You're very passionate about giving back to the community. And what kinds of things have you been able to do over the years as far as making a difference is concerned?
Well, I have a passion for animals. That's number one. So you'll always see me post things and about, adopting instead of shopping, for animals. So that's true to my heart. And I grew up with a lot of animals. My father, for a hobby, was an AKC judge. So I probably had been around about 400 breeds of dogs alone. And so those big shows you see on TV with the jet, yeah. So my dad would do stuff like that, and when he retired, and it was like fun for him. But I just loved animals and their loyalty, and they show who they are. With animals, they are just, this is who I am. I love you. I'm loyal. And I think that's what I love the most about them. They're true to their heart. Another passion I have is a nonprofit I'm working with right now. We just finished filming a documentary called Project Harmony, and the nonprofit's called 9/11 at Ease International. So the Project Harmony is based where there's first responders. People don't really realize what they go through. I mean, everyone stutters. They see an accident. They're like, oh gosh, traffic because of this. No, like someone just died or horrifically burned or whatever. And we all stop and look and don't think about the first responder that was there, right, and they have to deal with this. The trauma that they have. Well, no, they then have to go back, whether you're a fire person or a doctor, emergency room doctor, a police officer, whatever it is, they have to go back and keep working. Or, okay, time for lunch. Like, they don't talk about it. So these are suppressed PTSD, major anxiety, lots of, abuse, it could be alcohol, it could be domestic violence, it could be other things. That they, if they knew, if their higher ups knew, sergeant, whatever, they'd say, "Give me your badge, and we'll get back to you." Get back to you. Well, that could be like a month. My father, besides being a professional wrestler, used to train NYPD. So he was a police officer first. And so they called him the wrestling police officer because he was on black and white TV wrestling for the WWF, but he was a police officer. That's what he did. So he ended up training, the rookies. And I have uncles and cousins that are first responders. So this was real, like, it doesn't even feel like I'm working when I am helping raising, money, for this nonprofit. It's so beautiful and so healing. So this nonprofit ends up, like, let's say if you were to call in, they don't ask your badge number, they don't ask who you are, you need help. They connect you privately to a counselor licensed, and you could talk to them every day. It's not just you, it's your entire family until you feel healed. So with this Project Harmony, it's Grammy award winning and music award winning artists that are being paired with first responders with their tragic stories and turning them into something really beautiful of music. And how many times growing up you'll hear a song go, "Oh my gosh, when I was 9, I remember I was on the beach." Like, music is incredibly, incredibly healing. And this is something that was dear to me because of this. My father died of cancer, and he was having a hard time sleeping. And this woman told me to go to this place. It was called the Bodhi Tree. It was somewhere in like outside of Beverly Hills, like West Hollywood borderline. So I went there, and they had all these like, you know, weird books, like, little bells, little like, little smudge things that I was like, I don't even know what this thing is. She goes, "But go there and buy bass music, just bass." And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Just get a cassette," because back then we had cassettes, "put it in there and put it on your dad's, head so he can listen to the bass and he will sleep." And I'm like, "What?" So I said, "Okay." So I did it and it worked. And I'm like, "How is this working?" She goes, "It's because it's the same sound of being in your mother's womb. And so it's like why kids like being rocked to sleep. It's the motion or the humming in the car." And so I think that was also my connection to Project Harmony and 9/11 at Ease, is because music is so healing. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a big event in probably in Los Angeles. And we're working on the editing right now for the music and also the documentary that was filmed. And I mean, I was there. It's going to be absolutely beautiful.
That is so amazing.
Yeah.
And to hear that music does, like you said, it is healing, it's soothing, it does something
Yeah.
for your soul.
Yeah.
It's meaningful. It brings out just a wide range of emotions. So kudos to you for being able to take initiative with being able to be a part of something so incredible. Uh, what is it about giving back to the community for you that gives you the most joy?
Well, I feel like there's so much anger in this world right now. I think this is healing for everyone. So I felt like this was so true to my heart, and so much that my father and my uncles and my cousins do, and my father did daily, that it just felt normal to me, and it was a perfect match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're wrapped up in a project like this that you're very passionate about, you just never know where it can take you. So I hope that Project Harmony uh, is successful and it
Thank you.
has a lot of success. And
I think it will. I think we're going to Nashville next, so I think we're going to end up going to each state to film. Yeah.
Well, Kim, I want to say thank you very much for coming onto the show. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you on social media? If you want to plug your handles or plug the project, feel free.
Yeah, well, they can go to, I have it right here. If they want to donate, even if it's $1, it adds up. So they can go to find out about the project, they can go to 9/11 Project Harmony. So they can also go to www.911aei.org and they can donate there. So it'll talk about the entire project and they'll see how beautiful it is.
All right. Well, thanks again, Kim, and you're more than welcome to come back.
Thank you for having me.
All
Finally, yay.
Yep, we got it done.
Oh, wait, and my Instagram. People always don't know my Instagram because I don't say anything about wrestling. It's Kim's A Beach. I know it sounds weird, but Kim's A Beach. Not bitch, beach.
There you go. Thanks again, Kim.
Thank you, darling.
All right, take care.
Bye.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.